Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Andrew Moran, Sarah Cowgill, Dave Patterson, Scott Cosenza, and Graham Noble. For the year-end special, we've added a twist. For today only, we shall be called the Conservative Six, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. For the last 7 years, the gentleman from Kentucky, Senator Rand Paul, has released his Festivus report on wasteful government spending. This year, folks, is a doozy. No wonder the Biden bunch has moved the needle of national debt higher than a few $1 trillion. Here are a few highlights. American taxpayers paid $4.2 billion in bad loans to the Paycheck Protection Program. Add in $36 billion in unemployment insurance payments, and no wonder nobody wants to work. And here's a head scratcher, $1.27 million to one Baltimore school to COVID relief for students who weren't even enrolled. So you may ask, what does the Government Accounting Oversight Department do all day? Here's the kicker for me, panel. Why did we spend $8 billion to build border walls in the Middle East and North Africa when we're really the ones who need it? But Congress wouldn't even approve the $5 billion requested by President Trump in 2017 for a U.S.-Mexican border wall. Well, such questions can only bring us to our secret weapon, Liberty Nation's economic savant, Andrew Moran. Andrew, I know you're such a fan of government spending. Not.
Yeah, well, there's another great item on that list. It says that the U.S. government spent $1.3 million to see if hearing bad news causes you to be unhappy. Just reading through the budget alone makes anyone unhappy. You just want to kill yourself reading all these numbers and all the deficit that goes into it. But if you read Milton Friedman's Free to Choose, one of his great lines was that of the 4 different ways to spend money, one of them was spending someone else's money on someone else. And that's the whole nature of government. Government, they don't care about value. They don't care about protecting your money. They have this huge cash, all this cash and printing press, just spend it on anything you want. You constantly see this waste, but nothing ever changes. And that's what's frustrating the most. But also, at the same time, $52 billion, which is what the Festivus report noted, that's a fraction of the budget. The budget alone is $6 trillion. It's the massive big ticket spending items that should be constantly frowned upon. You have $1 trillion for defense or military spending. You have $1 trillion in entitlement spending. You have $800 billion in welfare spending. That's what's killing, the American, the Uncle Sam in his wallet, not these, frivolous, ridiculous, I think it was $150,000 on vacations for South Korean teenagers to attend a climate change conference. What the heck is this? What's going on with these budget makers?
Well, joining us especially today for our end of the year C5, making us the special C6 is J. David Patterson, our military affairs correspondent. Dave, I got to ask you, did the Biden administration skimp on the budget for the Afghan withdrawal?
Well, from a strictly budget perspective, it's actually the Trump appropriation, and there's plenty of money there to have done it correctly. But from a contingency cost perspective, Lisa, I think that it probably cost more in the bumbling and fumbling way the administration executed than it would have otherwise. But if you're talking about skimping, the only thing that was skimped on was good judgment.
Oh, well said. Now, Scott, I know you're a personal fan of letting everyone else spend money on you. So what's the problem here?
Maybe this is the one positive thing about inflation is that this massive debt that we're incurring will be worth basically zero by the time we're carrying around our paychecks in giant laundry baskets like the Weimar Republic fall.
Oh, gosh. Well, Sarah, you're in red state territory. What do the hardworking folks in middle America have to say about all this Festivus spending?
They figured they can save the government about $52 billion if they would just cut it out. Everybody is very money conscious around here. They're thrifty. They keep tinfoil in the drawer after using it. We don't throw anything out in red states. So when they see things like the schools getting COVID relief for one school for getting COVID relief, and there's no students that were enrolled there. It enrages people because people work hard for their money and they want to hang on to it any way they can. They don't want to see the government spending dollars on stupid, frivolous things or on people in other countries when we don't have a wall.
Yeah, and we're massively in debt, Graham. I mean, that's the problem. It's nice to share and share alike with the rest of the world when you're, flush, but we're in debt to trillions. Andrew, what is it now? 21 trillion?
$29 trillion in national debt.
Okay, I was close. Go ahead, Graham.
Well, I think they're long past the point where they even care. I mean, there was a time when the folks in Congress actually pretended to care about spending and fiscal responsibility. And I really think we've gotten to the point they literally do not care anymore. It's like, we will spend. And when I say spend, of course, I really mean we will print as much as we need to do to cover whatever expenses we want to cover. And I think because eventually we're going to get to the point where I believe all money is electronic and there's really no such thing as paper money anymore. And I figure that politicians are thinking, well, when that day comes, essentially all the money that anybody has is going to be kind of theoretical, if you like. It's going to be out there in the I guess what Facebook would describe as the metaverse. And so no one will really know how much money anybody's got anymore. And I think that's part of this, we simply don't care anymore.
Andrew, is he making the case for everybody to go crypto?
Well, actually, these governments that are employing digital money, like they're called CBDCs, and they don't use crypto. It's just the fiat money goes digital. So China right now, they're one of the leaders of employing the digital yuan, and they're trying to have greater cross-border transactions and trying to increase the yuan's standing of international reserves. And so far, it's working because a lot of this de-dollarization push that's happening, in that region among the BRIC nations. And also one more thing too about the whole budget and this whole Festivus report. One of the biggest budgetary items every year is the interest on the debt. Last year, the United States spent $300 billion just to service that debt. Once the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, which right now, according to the FOMC projections, it's going to be 3 rate hikes next year, the government's going to be paying even more on this national debt. So this is just, once again, these massive budget items are being ignored, and we're all focusing on the pennies when these dollars should be monitored.
Exactly. Well, based on Senator Paul's Festivus report, the U.S. government wasted $52 billion plus of money from the American taxpayer. And that begs the question, why do we give France $200,000 to teach them about American culture? For the love of Pete, just Google it or look up Wikipedia. Thanks, panel. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform, YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble. We're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, surf on over to libertynation.com. Sign up for our new member zone, just $29.99 for a year. Special thanks to our fantastic editor and post coordinator, Frank DiOrio, and our amazing executive producer, Sarah Cowgill. I'm Lisa K. Donner, editor-in-chief. Thanks for joining us today. This has been a production of libertynation.com, where truth is making a comeback.